told you we talk about empathy. Let's talk about empathy. Who is dying to talk about empathy? Hey, you guys are livening up. I don't know if the sugar's kicking in or what's happening, but I like it. Why do people bully other people? I know you know this. We've all seen the specials. Insecurities, they got problems of their own. Okay? Bullies bully other people to feel better about themselves. Okay? Bullies usually have tough home lives, abuse, neglect, things like that. In order for them to feel good, they've got to make someone else feel worse. Who's heard that before? Okay, low esteem, abuse, neglect, they feel not okay. I'm going to use this term a lot, not okay. I look at people as being in two states. You're okay or you're not okay. Okay is just, hey, I'm fine. Not okay is everything else. I'm sad, I'm angry, I'm upset, I'm anything negative. I'm frustrated, I'm anxious, any feeling that you don't like is not okay. So I classify people as they're either okay or they're not okay. Okay? And we're going to get to exactly what that means and what to do with it in a moment. But have you ever felt like this? I'm going to call myself out on this. I got a pretty sweet life. I whine about it. Oh, this is hard, right? Oh, today was really tough. You know, my wife's like, stop it, you're being stupid, right? Like, you got a wonderful family, right? Financially, we're exactly where we always wanted to be. You got this, this, and this, and you're crying like a baby because you spent an extra hour on the phone, right? I have these pity parties all the time, right? Who's with me? None of you? I mean, it's okay to fess up. I'm fessing up first. Sometimes I hate myself for it. It's one of my weaknesses, but sometimes I have these little pity parties. Life's not fair. It's easier for the other guy. This didn't go in my favor and it sucks. I have these freaking pity parties. Then I see something real. Then I see something real. Then I see real pain. Then I see real grief. Then I see people who have real problems. All of a sudden, what do you think happens to my pity party? Goes away, right? How many of you are like that? You could be down for whatever reason, and then, shoot, someone passes away, someone loses everything, and all of a sudden you go from feeling sorry for yourself to, from being not okay to, okay, I'm cool now. I don't know what I was even worried about, right? Who's done that? Who knows what I'm talking about? That's empathy. Your feelings change based on what other people are feeling around you. Or you think life's hard and you see a man with no arms and no legs who's killing it. And you think, you know what, maybe I don't have that big of challenges, right? Maybe my challenges aren't as bad or as hard as some other people's. Or you can have a home like this, the average 3-bed, 2-bath American home. And you're there and you're with your neighbors and you're all out on the porch barbecuing and you're all thinking, you know what, we're okay. We all got nice houses, we're living okay, we're doing okay, we're doing okay. Then you go to a party. And then you're like, we suck. You go from okay to not okay, not because your situation changed, right? But compared to other people. Or then, maybe you go travel and you see something like this. Your house still hasn't changed, but now all of a sudden you're okay. I'm doing pretty good. From fine to feeling horrible to feeling really good about your situation. Your situation didn't change, just what you compared it to. This is how empathy works. This is how we can control other people's emotions. Based on what the emotions we show are, we can control what other people are feeling. I'll explain. Okay? First of all, though, can we agree that what others feel, experience around us, have an impact on how we feel? The bully, if they want to make themselves feel better, they make somebody feel worse. If you want to make yourself feel better, you go to Walmart. Come on, guys, that was a good one. I queued it up and everything. I really thought that was going to go over well. So what others feel has an impact on what we feel, okay? If a friend or family member is in pain, what do you feel? You feel for them, right? You go from okay to not okay. Next question. What do we do when we feel not okay? We're angry, we're sad, we're frustrated, we're embarrassed. What do people do? Shut down. Okay, someone said shut down. What else do we do? You said drink? So that's shutting down, that's hiding. What else? Get depressed. Okay. Two things. The old fight or flight. Okay. When people are not okay, whatever that means, anxious, pressured, sad, pissed, they do one of two things. More of them flee than fight, more of them hide than fight, but you fight or you flee. You get angry and you fight back, or you get out of the situation, okay? In sales, you get an angry prospect, or you get somebody who stops answering your questions, stops sharing information. It might still be very pleasant, they'll never tell you that they're not okay, but they're fighting or fleeing. Most will flee and you'll have no idea. This makes sense so far? We fight or we flee. Can you think of any situations, any sales scenarios where you have fought or fled? So fight is this. A salesperson makes you very uncomfortable, and you say, you know what, I think this is junk. You fight back. Or maybe if you're the salesperson, you might be unintentionally pressuring a prospect, and they go from okay to, you know, I'm getting fed up with this, why all the questions? You make them uncomfortable somehow, not okay, and they start to get angry with you. Or has that happened to anybody? Yeah. You might not know you've even been doing it. You're like, I thought this is what I always ask. But you've unintentionally made them not okay, uncomfortable somehow, or angry, or frustrated. And now they're attacking you, right? Or what happens more commonly is they just don't say anything at all. They start answering less and less. They might still be very pleasant and very cordial, but they're not giving you the truth. In the first chance they get, they're out of the situation. So have you ever maybe been in a high-pressure sales situation where you made up an excuse and got out of it as quickly as possible? Sure. Have you ever been in a high-pressure sales situation where you said, I think you're being a jerk? Yeah. I have. It was at the Audi dealership. And I'm a fleer. I just take off, right? We talked about that. I'll let them call me 47 times, just not pick up the phone. It's cool. But in this situation, I saw the price of the vehicle online. That was the price of the vehicle. I went into the dealership. We got to the paperwork. And when we did that, he went over pricing for me. And when he went over pricing, he said, and we're doing something very special for you. We're going to give you an additional discount, taking it down to X amount of dollars. And I said, well, that's how many dollars it's advertised for. And he said, well, yes, that's true, but that's an additional discount. We don't usually give that to people. And I got not okay because I felt like I was being taken advantage of. I said, so you just tried to sell me this discount like you were doing me a solid because you didn't know I already saw the price. You're full of it, right? Hey, here's your great discount. Well, that's already what you said your price was. Okay, you caught me in a lie. I'm not giving you an additional discount to make you feel like you had more value. I'm simply lying to your face, right? That's the reality of the situation. So it got heated and we left, and I bought a car from across the street. Same company, but I just wanted him to see that I bought a car from across the street from another salesperson he works with, from the Toyota dealership who ended up hiring the guy, right? That's how that story played out. So we fight or we flee. Here's the deal, none of those are good. If your prospects are fighting or fleeing, you're not getting the deal. So is it important to keep your prospects okay at all times? Absolutely. So here's how we use empathy as a tool. When your prospect's not okay, or you think your prospect might go not okay, so you're about to give some bad news maybe, right? You're about, oh shoot, how about this one? What's the feeling you get when you're about to make a really low offer? Ugh. Right? Because what are they going to do? They might just, call, okay, that's your offer, it doesn't work or whatever. They might accept your offer or might have some words for you, right? Because you make them very not okay. That low offer can make some people very not okay. So what feelings am I talking about? Anger. Maybe they feel like they're getting taken advantage of. Frustration for going through a process and getting this number. You wasted their time. They're insulted. So how can we prevent that? Let me tell you. Do you have a question? No. So I never ever get a prospect upset no matter what number I give. Ever. It just doesn't happen. I'm not embellishing. I'm telling you, never ever happens. Here's why. If I make them feel bad, what are they going to want to do? They're going to feel better, just like the bully. If I insult them, what are they going to want to do to me to make them feel better? Make me feel low as can be, right? I beat them to the punch. I get very uncomfortable before I give the offer, so they can't beat me up anymore. And I never get any pushback. It sounds like this. Hey, listen, I know what you want for the place. I don't think I can get there. Well, how much? I mean, I came here with every intention of buying it, but now after we talk and after I saw the place, I don't even think I'm comfortable giving you an offer. I think you're going to want to just punch me in the face and kick me out of your house, and I don't want to insult you like that. I get it. But how much? Hey, listen, I appreciate it. I'd love to buy this house. But I'm telling you, I don't feel comfortable. I mean, I just don't want you to get upset. I already feel like crap right now. I came out here, I did this. I can't give you what you want for it. I know your situation. I know pain. I know you want it taken care of, but I don't want to. I don't even know what to do at this point. That's okay. Give me your offer. Whatever. I probably won't take it. I know you want 100 for it, but I can't even. I've got recordings of this. It go on for a while. I don't know. I probably couldn't even get to 30. That's it. I get so visibly uncomfortable, they don't want to beat you up anymore. You're already there, right? You're there. The only way to get them up, when they get upset, when they're shocked, they're going to take it out on you to push you down. But if you're already that uncomfortable, here's what usually happens. It's okay. It's your business. You got to make money too. They always say that stuff. Like, no, that's my line, right? That's how I'm supposed to justify it to you. No, I get it. No, you're probably right. We can't do anything. But I get it, That's what you got to do. That's what you got to buy it for. You're in this money to make business. No, that's not going to work, but that's what you got to do. Yeah, man, I feel like dirt. Hey, can I ask you a question? Now that it's over, if you ever did sell for less than what you wanted, why would you? Well, what do you think you're going to do? I don't know. I'm right back in it. I have done that more times than I can count. Combination of ending the call to start the call, using empathy, instant influence, all of it. Right there, one fell swoop to get that number out. We're also resetting expectations. It's called an anchor price. So whatever my real number is after that, it's going to seem pretty sweet compared to the 30. We do 4 or 5 things in that little exchange right there that sets up the deal for me. The key here is empathy. If you're about to give your prospect bad news, go not okay yourself fast. If you see your prospect getting upset, getting uncomfortable, getting agitated, any of those things, you better get more uncomfortable than they are fast. Hey, listen, I think I did or said something that upset you. I had no intention of doing it. Obviously I did, and now I feel like a complete jerk. I feel like a complete jerk. Oh man, I messed up, didn't I? I get uncomfortable real quick, and all of a sudden, no, it's okay, man, you just said that thing about my wife, and it's never happened. Never happened. But I use that all the time. Here's a real life example. It's very scary. I was in Arkansas, northwest Arkansas, where they manufacture some of the finest pistols in the world. So I'm surrounded by hillbillies, like me, I'm kind of a hillbilly, by hillbillies with literally a warehouse full of ammo and thousands of guns. In the truck, or in the parking lot, it's just all pickup trucks. Some have like flags on the back and stuff. Just imagine this. And I'm surrounded by guns and ammunition. And my job was training a sales guy to pitch IT services. Let us take your IT over for you so you don't have to deal with it. In the meeting was the IT guy. Basically, our pitch to the IT guy and his boss is fire him, hire us. Scary situation. We get into it. We didn't think he was going to be in the meeting. He wasn't supposed to be there. This is like totally against protocol. But he's there. You got to deal with it. He gets upset, as anyone would. Stands up, starts yelling. His boss stands up too. You jerks, you did. I sink in my chair and I go, very not okay. Very not okay. And I feel like crap for about 3 to 5 minutes until they say, man, it's okay. I didn't mean to jump down your throat like that. We ended up getting the deal. Took two more tries, but we got the deal. I think it was Wilson Combat in Northwest Arkansas. Any gun lovers, that's the place. And the company I was with now takes care of their IT, even in that rough situation. The only way we saved it was by going very not okay and saving the conversation. Does this all make sense?
How would you recover from your initial low offer to somebody getting upset with you because you offered them so little, and then all of a sudden they don't trust you because you offer them so much more?
Okay, so the question is, how would you recover, or how would you go about increasing your offer? If you give a low offer and then you increase, what if they say, I don't trust you? Is basically the question. Okay? Anybody deal with that? Anyone get pushback? Well, why didn't you offer me that to begin with?
It's always hard to raise your offer without having a reason to justify why you raised it.
Bingo. You never give without a take. That's how you justify it. Every increase, every give, you've got to have a take. So here's what it sounds like. Listen, I might be able to jump up 5 or 10 grand, but in order to do that, I need you to help with the clean out. I need to get that old truck out of there. I need you to allow me to close within 21 days. It might be a take that's easy for them, that they were already planning on doing, but it's got to be an exchange. You don't just give for nothing, right? That's it. Might be, your contract might have already been, you got to close in 30 days, but that's it. Hey, listen, I can go up a little bit, but here's what I would need. I would need to know that we could close on this thing within 30 days or under. But it sounds to me like that's way too quick for you to get out of here, go negative. Make sense? You don't just give for no reason. If you go in there and go, I'll give you 20. No. 30? No. 40? No. 50? Probably a bad thing. And the reason, go ahead.
Just jumping back to empathy.
Yeah, go ahead.
I always thought empathy was like, if somebody's like, oh yeah, my dog just died. It's not like,
Yeah.
oh, so you still want to sell your house? You kind of acknowledge.
So empathy is the ability to feel what someone else is feeling. Maybe not feel it, but understand their feeling.
Right.
Okay? When you understand their feeling, it impacts how you feel. When you see, if you open up your door in the morning and there's a wounded kitten hobbling along, you're like, oh, I'm going to help it, right? Or most normal people would, right? You feel bad for it, you want to help. When you see people in distress, you want to help. You feel bad yourself because you know what they're going through. Empathy is the ability to understand other people's feelings. So when you talk about sociopaths, they don't have empathy. They don't get it. That's what makes them insane. Yes, they don't understand. So empathy, when we use empathy as a tool, we know unless they're a sociopath, then if we get very uncomfortable, it's going to make them more comfortable. We always feel good around people who are less comfortable than us. Again, if we are the smartest one in the room, feel pretty good about yourself, don't you? If you're the richest one in the room, feel pretty good about your accomplishments, don't you? Then vice versa. If the dumbest and poorest in the room, what do you feel like? Has that changed about who you are? That's kind of how empathy works, right? We compare based on what other people are feeling. Okay. John?
So whenever you were at $30,000 after that whole long episode of you feeling horrible, it seems like a perfect time to say, I know that's too low, come down with me from 100 to something, but you're not going there. You're not.
No, I wouldn't go there yet. I would go with something. I dig back in and I'd get the pain back up there. So usually when we make an offer, you always want to make at least one offer to reset the bar. We're going to get into that in negotiating. But your offer is always judged by what they compare it to. If they think their house is worth 100, you owe them 30, crap offer. If they think their house is worth 10 and you offer them 30, fantastic offer, right? So what you do is you reset their expectations. Once you set that anchor at 30, when you come back in later above that, that's going to seem like a pretty sweet deal because now you're 10 up instead of 70 down. We'll get into that in negotiating and renegotiating, but it's called a price anchor and it's extremely effective. So I'd get back into, what I want to do there is evoke the fear of loss and go, now that it's over, what in the heck are you going to do? I've already know I've built up that pain. They're itching to get rid of it, but my offer just didn't work. I don't know, man. I was really hoping you were going to offer more. Yeah, so what are you going to do? I don't know. Well, I mean, can you sit on it? Really? I mean, I know you said you can't, but I can't do it. Pain is back up there. Listen, I might be able to help out a little bit, but I can't do it without your help. I don't even tell you I can do this. I'd have to make a phone call first and check with my partner. But for the sake of this conversation, if I was able to offer you X, could you give me concession? That's where I'd go with it. Or I tell them exactly what I'm about to do, and this is extremely effective. If I'm wholesaling it, here's the way I play that. Listen, I can't buy it for 30. I just can't. Lose my butt on it. There's no way. Or anything above 30. Here's what I can do. I don't do it for a lot of people, but I'll run it by you. I'd love to help you out. You tell me what you think. I know a lot of people who do what I do. And some will pay more than for houses. If they've got rentals in the area, they pay more. If they like the neighborhood, they'll pay more. If they've got someone who wants a house in the area or they like redoing houses in the area, they'll pay more than what I can. I can't guarantee anything, but what I can do is if we agree on a price, if you need 35 out of it, we'll agree on 35. And then I'll go tell every one of my buddies about it and I'll market it for you. I'll send them all a letter to see if anyone will jump that high. If I can't find anyone in 20 days, it just voids out the contract. Just telling them you're wholesaling, but you're the freaking hero, right? And it gives you plenty of time to see if you can get that amount of money. And if you don't, you've already set the expectation that if no one jumps that high, I got to give it back. You're the hero, right? By telling them you're doing exactly what you're doing. Does that make sense? So there's a lot of exit strategies there. There's a couple of them. A little off topic again there, but that's always fun. Don't forget your softening statements, always. Keep in mind that your body language and tonality are just important as the actual words you use, okay? If you feel bad, you gotta look like you feel bad. If you feel good, look like you feel good. We went through softening statements, we're gonna skip through that. But softening statements are also play into empathy really well. Empathy, again, means it's the ability to feel what someone else is feeling, or at least understand what they're feeling. So it's more the ability to understand. So softening statements are really empathetic statements, or what some people call them. So if people are telling you about their issues, their trouble, use your softening statements to let them know you understand. I get that. You know, I don't think I could handle it like you handle it. That's got to be tough. That's it. That'll build rapport too, and that helps with empathy. Okay. Any questions so far? Falling on the sword is a technique we use with empathy. We got 30 minutes left. You guys going to be able to hang with me? We're almost through this. We'll power through this by, I think we got a question over here. We'll be able to power through, finish this up tomorrow morning, and then we're just going to go through scenarios. So I want you to start. I see some people typing in their phones. I bet you're coming up with role play scenarios for tomorrow. Thank you. So think about all those situations you came in here going, how exactly would I handle that? What do we do when this happens? Some of the same questions you're asking. Make sure you either email them to me or just write them down. So as we do our role plays and go through all this tomorrow, we hit every one of those. I don't want to leave here with you going, I still don't know what to do about this or how to handle it. You may not have it rehearsed completely and be 100% comfortable, but I want you to at least have all those questions answered and be absolutely ready to roll. Okay? Falling on the sword. Okay? Here's what that means. Harikari is a word, is a term, or seppuku is a term that the Japanese use. When you shame the emperor, you take your own life. So he doesn't have to feel the shame, is what that term means. It's called falling on the sword. It's what samurai warriors did. They'd literally, yeah. Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce it. That's probably one of many things I'll mispronounce during our time together. But that's the word, right? And we do the same with our prospects. Remember, when your prospects feel not okay, what do? They fight or they flee. Do either of those lead to a sale? If they're fighting with you or if they're shutting down, what are our chances of closing a deal? Nothing. So whatever your prospects feel, if it's anger, if it's resentment, if it's fear, whatever it is, we fall on the sword for them. We take full responsibility as the salesperson for their feelings if we want them to get into a state of okay again. So what exactly does that mean? My fault. Hey, listen, I can tell that you might have done nothing wrong, and your prospect is just absolutely upset because you told them the truth about maybe a property and the repairs it needs, right? You didn't do anything. You shouldn't have to apologize because you didn't do anything wrong, but they're clearly upset. Has that happened to anybody? Yes. You've offended them in some way? In that situation, and any like it, you fall on the sword. Hey, listen, man, I can tell I've upset you. That is 100% my fault. I probably should have broken down repairs and what we would do and walk through this differently than what I did. And just throwing it all out there and kind of picking apart the house, I've clearly upset you, and that is 100% my fault. That's what I did, and I feel horrible about it. We fall on the sword. Right? It may not be our fault, doesn't matter. If you want your prospects okay, you have to take responsibility for how they're feeling. You don't have to it's not about being right. You can be right and have no deal, or you can fall on the sword, get your prospects okay, and continue on with the conversation. That's your choice. But if you want to be okay again because you've upset them, you got to fall on that sword. My fault, I made you feel this way. Those are the words. Completely 100% my fault. I've upset you. I did not know that you didn't know you had a roof on it and that it would cost more than $14 to fix. I should have asked more questions. I should have gone about that differently. I feel like a jerk now. I mean, if someone came at me like that, now that I'm thinking about it, I'd probably toss them out. I feel like I kind of failed you here. I'm sorry. That's 100% my fault. Should we stop here, or do you want to keep going? And if you want to stop, that's okay. I clearly upset you, and that's my fault, and it wasn't my intent. So, and then we move back on, and we keep going. If they end the call, great. Now that it's over, can I ask you a question? And right back into it. Never freaking ends, right? Till you really get a real no. Okay. Typically, your prospects won't tell you when they feel not okay, so watch for body language. Regardless of who's at fault, if you want your prospect to sell to you, you got to take responsibility for it and make them comfortable again and get that deal back on track. Okay? Way to make a not okay prospect feel okay, take responsibility for their discomfort. What can we say to take responsibility for the prospect not being okay even when it's not our fault? I just gave you some examples, but let's liven up the place. Somebody want to give a good one good run through? Jim.
So
Not everybody
one of the lines that I use sometimes is, hey, if I were you, I'd be really pissed off at me right now.
That is awesome.
And
Did
then,
everybody hear that? That is perfect. Write that one down. That is good. If I was you, I'd be really pissed off right now.
I'm sorry, I dropped the ball. I'm sorry for that. I dropped the ball.
That's it. Just take responsibility. Okay? A lot of us, we're pretty prideful people. Hey, you should have known that. Not going to get you anywhere, right? You can be right or you can be rich. I just made that up. I'm going to copyright it. Okay, can we back up? What I should have told you from the outset is these types of challenges are common, so if they're embarrassed, hey, listen, I'm sorry. My questions made you a little bit uncomfortable. I should have shared with you earlier that more than half the people I meet with, they've fallen into the exact same stuff you have. It's not your fault. Honestly, the way you're handling it is probably better than most anyone else I've ever met. Okay? Hey, listen, I'm doing a crummy job explaining it. Not you don't understand, I'm a bad explainer. You guys getting that concept? It's always our fault. Okay? Don't think I've asked you the right questions. I think I might be coming on a little too strong. Get the feeling I've made you uncomfortable. Okay? Now, we unintentionally, time check, 35 minutes or so, we unintentionally make our prospects not okay all the time. We don't even realize it. Let's run through a couple common scenarios because here's the deal. We're going to make our prospects uncomfortable very often and have no idea we're doing it, so you need to watch out for some specific times where this is likely to happen so you can watch very closely for it. Or do what you're doing a little bit differently, okay? If you're pressuring prospects, talking down to them, asking intrusive questions, acting cocky or overconfident, speaking from your point of view instead of from what they want, or using jargon, buzzwords, or acronyms, this can make your prospects uncomfortable. How many of you or your salespeople are just like an acronym heaven, right? Well, we'll check with the HBA about the FSA and maybe we get you. Because it feels good to know what you're talking about, right? And sometimes we use a lot of acronyms in words that our prospects might not know because we want them to think we're credible. Is that fair to say? We see it happen a lot, right? But what happens if you're in a room full of people and they're talking a language you don't know, using words you don't know? How do you feel about yourself? I'm a little uncomfortable. Should I know this? Am I stupid for not knowing it? That's what happens to our prospects. You're talking down to them. You're making them uncomfortable. You're trying to make yourself feel good. You're making them feel bad. Basically, it's the same as what a bully does. How do we unintentionally make our prospects not okay before an initial meeting? What do you think might make them feel not okay, uncomfortable, uneasy, stressed out, anxious before that first sales call, before we show up at their house? What might we have done that make them feel that way?
Show up late.
Show up late? What else? Before we even get there, we've set the appointment, just time is going by before that appointment. No advance agreement. If we don't let them know what our plan is, how long we're going to be out there, what we're going to cover, yes or no, and no is okay, could that make your prospect go into a state of not okay? When they go into a state of not okay, what one of two things are they going to do? Fight or flight. Appointment cancellations, pushbacks. Or you show up at the door and they're already angry at you and you haven't got your name out. You're like, this guy is, grumpy Gus woke up on the wrong side of the bed. This is it in action, okay? When we don't use advance agreements, we unintentionally make our prospects not okay. That's why we lose appointments. That's why sometimes we get there and they're not the friendliest people. Prospect might be afraid you're wasting their time, might be anxious about not knowing what to expect, might feel you're misunderstanding them or won't listen effectively or just there to sell or do a deal. Prospect might fear that they're being pressured into buying. Does all this make sense? Yeah. Now that we're looking at it from the prospect's perspective, can you see how all the innocent stuff we were doing, thinking, hey, I'll just make an appointment and then I'll show up and they'll be happy to see me, and then you do that and they're not there, they push you off, or they're really standoffish, and you're going, what did I do? That's what you did. You made them not okay. Not that you didn't do anything that was unprofessional, not that you messed up in any way, but you unintentionally made them not okay, and that's what it leads to. In the diagnosis, how can we make them not okay? Asking questions about feelings? Making assumptions? What else? We're just
Like we know what their problem is.
acting like we know what their problem is.
I've seen this a million times, blah, blah, blah. That's a good landmine to step on.
That is good, right? Yeah. Acting like you know what their problem is, assuming you know exactly what you're there to do. All good. Prospect might be uncomfortable admitting the problems they're even facing. Is that possible? How many people are embarrassed about their situation? Does that make them go not okay? When they share that information with you or you find out, do they fight or they flee? Now that you're thinking about this, can you think about your sales calls and, oh my gosh, I've seen this in action many times. This is why, okay? Your questions might They might feel like they're a little intrusive. Your prospect might feel like he or she's the only one with those problems, embarrassment. What can we do to keep our prospects okay and avoid those things? Because when they feel them, they might not even tell us. And if they go not okay and we don't know, we might lose the deal before it's even started. Push back a little on the pendulum, go a little, reverse it a little bit. So, awesome, right? Big thing. You learn with it really well. You're not alone. It's not your fault.
The last guy threw me out of his house with a shotgun. You're doing great.
Anything.
Or you can tell the story you have little single situation worse. Tell the story.
Absolutely. You can tell stories too. You just have to realize that they might feel pressured. Usually, the way to handle a diagnosis is just set expectations, right? You could do another advance agreement. Hey, listen, I want to talk about the money and the stuff like that, but I can structure this deal like a dozen different ways. And what I've found that I can structure it different ways depending on what someone's specific situation is. So I've got a few questions that aren't specifically about the condition of your house. They're about your situation, so I could figure out how to structure payouts or however we do this thing. Is it okay if I ask you a few questions about what you want to get out of this thing and what you want it all to look like, what I'm actually here to solve? Get permission. If people give you permission, they never get mad at you because they gave you permission. Right? It's just setting an advance agreement. I've got like 5 questions. It probably shouldn't take any longer than 10 minutes, but I think at the end of it, it'll help us both out a lot. And if I hear anything during that time, that's a big red flag to me that'll cause me to say, hey, I can't help with that. I'll let you know I can't do a deal. Right? Just another advance agreement. Remember I said as we're transitioning from step to step is a great place for an advance agreement. Set the stage. Right? If you see that they're getting uncomfortable, go uncomfortable yourself. If you are uncomfortable asking questions about that type of stuff and going deep, let them know you're uncomfortable about it. Use empathy in your favor. Hey, listen, I've just been doing this long enough where I know if I don't ask a couple of questions, I'm not going to structure this right, and I'm going to miss the ball, and I'm not going to do right by you. I hate asking about people's situations just because I'm a very private person, and it makes me extremely uncomfortable. But I know if I don't, I'm not going to know how to structure this deal so you get exactly what you want out of it. Is it okay if I just ask you a few questions about your situation and what you want to get out of all this? Does that make sense, everybody? Okay? If you're feeling embarrassed or you don't like doing part of this, let it shine through. Don't hide it and be macho or professional. Or if you're about to give an offer, don't say that $30,000 offer when they're expecting $100,000. Don't go into it and say, hey, I'll give you $30,000. It'll punch you in the face, right? Same thing with the diagnosis or anything you do that you're uncomfortable with. Hey, listen, this is necessary because in order for me to serve you, I got to do this. But if I look a little weird, it's because it always makes me uncomfortable because I'm a really private person, but there is a couple of questions I'd love to ask about your situation so I can make sure I do things right and I get you exactly what you need. Would it be okay if I ask you a couple of questions that are not specifically about the house, but instead specifically what you want to get out of this thing? And if not, that's okay because I'm uncomfortable doing it anyways. Yes or no is okay. Okay, let's jump to the next one. Presentation step, we haven't got to that yet, so we're gonna skip it. But we got 15 minutes left in the day. Let's wrap things up here because this is the end of this lesson. Guys, you're glazed over. We went over a ton of information. We're gonna make it a lot more interactive tomorrow, but with our few minutes left today, where are we at? What questions do you have? What kind of feedback do you have? You can tell me today sucked and I won't take it personally, I promise. It'll just let me know what to do and what not to do tomorrow. But give me some feedback.
I just have to laugh because you said you're glazed over, and right as you said it, my eyes were watering, and I'm like, I am glazed over.
It's okay. I would be too.
It was awesome. It was awesome. I got a lot out of this. Thank you.
I appreciate that, but I'm really looking for some negative stuff. I'm serious about this. You guys spent a lot of money and time to get here. What can we do better tomorrow?
So we get access to the material after this course.
Yeah.
I've got a ton of notes, and I have to review my notes to be able to apply this type of stuff. So I was sitting here looking through leads and trying to find out how I'm going to adapt this on a live call tonight, possibly. And as I started going through my notes, I literally sat here and was like, holy shit. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that tonight. So I guess a little uneasiness, because it's a little out of my old realm of sales and what I've been doing to close deals. And I think we're all here to close more. So I guess the 2-day blitz is, I wasn't anticipating as much information.
Yeah, a little overwhelming.
It's a good thing and a bad thing.
So tomorrow, all those questions you have tonight, as you start looking at those, and when you get hit with that question, all right, here's the situation, how the heck do I apply this stuff? List those situations, that's what I want to dive into tomorrow. So any of you that feel like Ken, who are going, all right, let's do this, and you go, I don't know how to do it with this stuff, let me know what those situations are. That's exactly what we need to be role-playing tomorrow, okay? So I need you to kind of bring it. Help me out with this. I can guess. I've heard a lot of it. I can make assumptions. But if I miss it, I'm not going to feel good about it. So I need you to bring it.
So the going negative is kind of like the pullback method.
Yep.
It's kind of what I'm basically comparing it to. Sometimes when you do that pullback method, then they're like, okay.
Right.
It's like crickets. And so recovering from that, I think it's just the recovery part of things that can be a little bit more
Right.
difficult.
Some of us don't want to pull back or go negative because we're afraid that our prospects will go, okay, it's over, right? It's true. It's a fear, but that's okay. Now that it's over, can I ask you a question? Let it end, right? Let it end. Don't go back. The second you're selling and pushing, they're going to start pulling away. So at that point, if they say, it's always one of two things, right? If they say, no, I think you're right, this isn't going anywhere, all right, we don't have enough motivation built, or there's some massive deal killers we haven't hit yet. You can go with both, you can go with either, right? Hey, now that's over, can I ask you a question? It seems like you had some issues you were really wanting to tackle, but I'm guessing this isn't going to go anywhere because there's some stuff that's going to prevent you from tackling them no matter how we structure a deal or what our offer is. There's some stuff that's just going to be too hard to deal with to get this thing moved. Did I guess right, or am I just absolutely nuts? Right? Now that's over, can I ask you a question? If you ever did, why would you? It's either motivation or deal killers. Not enough motivation to move forward, something in the way of them moving forward. It's one of those two things every time. There can be nothing else. It can't be anything else. Chuck?
It's more so just a suggestion for the gentleman in the front and really anybody else. I know there's a lot of information to take in 2 days, but it's a lot for me, because I'm in the 12-week online program, it's a lot of review, and it's whenever you review something a second time, it's easier to digest.
Yeah.
So I would recommend anyone who's not in the 12-week online program to look into it, because it's a lot.
Everyone gets it. Everyone gets it.
Oh, we all get it.
You get a car, you get a car, you get a car. Right. So yeah, everyone gets enrollment in that. So who's in this thing? Because I knew it would be like this. It always is. I'll get to you in 1 second. So after this, you guys can enroll in any of the trainings we do. We do another one that kicks off on Wednesday. We slow it down and we take 12 weeks. So you'll be able to review everything. There's additional videos and stuff like that, and we break it down week by week. So that's why I wanted to give an enrollment, is because I knew a lot of you would leave here and go, oh shit, like, I'm lost. So that's why we're doing it. So great suggestion.
Yeah, I was just going to kind of reiterate, now that we're 3 hours past the last decision, I guess a little bit more with Gina. This might just be my learning style, but again, I'm not in the 12-week program. I'm very grateful to you for enrollment. It sounds awesome. Looking forward to it. But on a day like today, for the way I learn anyway, I've retained, I think, most of this. But like some teaching and then reinforcing, I feel like you might have had a better suggestion. I did not agree with you at the beginning, and now I think you might have had it.
I appreciate that. Yeah. So you guys, hey, spit out me real quick. Break down the percentage so I'm dialed in for tomorrow. Content versus doing. What percentage content? What percentage doing? 70-30, 50-50, 90-10. 90% doing? 50-50? I'm hearing a lot of stuff. Give me some more.
Well, like you gotta go back 80-20.
Just back and forth is what I'm hearing. More important just to go back and forth. Okay.
Yeah. In other words, the concept implemented a couple different times. Concept
Okay.
implemented a couple different times.
Got it. And I think back here first, we had a question. Tasha, we have a question back there.
Yes, no, I just, sorry, my wife called.
That's okay.
And I have ADHD, so I answered it. But no, I wanted to say with the doing part, he's joining our team in August, and I pretty much just took what you did, went on a break, took pieces of it, bought a house for $8,000. Literally an hour and a half ago, and really just practiced using so some of that, it's role playing, but until you're in the situation.
Some of it you're just going to have to use.
I saw a lead that came in, and I was like, might as well just go try this real quick and use, $90,000 house, bought it for $8,000.
Congratulations. Now, hopefully there's not $82,000 worth of repairs you have to do. Okay. That's awesome, man. Jim, and then Steve.
For tomorrow, I was just wondering, maybe we can do some hot seat sessions up there where it's like, detailed role playing, like one student, you, and maybe do like 10 or 20, 30 of those throughout the day.
Yeah, I was thinking that what we would do with that is start with kind of a group versus me. Not versus, okay. But people are going to be uncomfortable alone, right? No one wants to be in the hot seat alone.
No, I'm saying like that, no, we're going to be alone with sellers. Why not start now when it's easy? And if we're going to do that throughout the day, just a suggestion.
Yeah, we will do that. We will do one-on-ones. I figured the way we'd start is I'd say like, you guys are a team of 3 or 5. You be the salesperson. I'll be the seller. That way you could just okay, I'll say this. You go, how do we answer that? Talk it through real quick, kind of coach each other, teach each other. Here's what I think, here's what I think. And then we'll move into, let's go on to some one-on-ones and reverse some roles. And seriously, if you guys have people we need to call, let's freaking call them, right? This might be the worst decision I've ever made. I could fall on my face, and then all of a sudden, that guy has 0 credibility, right? I say let's go for it, though, right? Let's have some fun. We had Steve next, but I'll grab you, Ed, and then if you'd go over there for Steve.
So is there, looking at all this information and trying to digest it like Ken said, is there a training type video that you have that kind of starts out from, hey, how you doing? I'm John.
Yep. Right before we go into role plays, our last section is front to back the entire sale. So the entire sales call. Here's what to say when you get there. Here's what to say next. Here's what to do. I've got a video out there too that breaks it down and actually has a script that literally says, here's your anchor question. So you start with this. Here's how you transition to the next step, and it walks you through it. So we will put it all back together. Steve?
Okay. Ken, I completely relate to where you're at right now, and to anyone else who's feeling completely overwhelmed with the amount of information that was just covered. Just give it just a couple moments to sink in and digest, because what you'll find, and this has been my experience with John's training and a couple others, is that it's almost like information overload, and it's there to confuse your brain, because the more time that you have to think about things, the more you can actually confuse it and mess it up. So the fact that John here has just completely overwhelmed your brain and put you in a state where you're like, I don't know what the hell is going on. Like, I have pages of notes, and I've been here for 8 hours, 9 hours sitting in a chair, and it could be a good thing. And what I have found is that all of a sudden, man, you're just gonna pull this shit from nowhere. You're going to be like, oh, fuck, I'm going negative on someone right now, and it feels great.
Yeah, I get called out on it all the time. They'd be like, stop doing that. I'm like, I'm not trying to do it. It's just happening.
And I'm not saying that. Like, I know that everyone learns in a different way, and I'm not trying to suggest that, you learn a different way, but I used to be that person. I thought I was that person that needed to do and act and get it, do it at the time that it's being taught. But what I've found is that if I actually just sit here and just trust that I'm going to get the information and it's going to come to me when I need it, it's amazing what actually happens, because your subconscious mind actually picks this shit up and you don't even know it.
I think Tony had a question up front.
It's more like suggestion.
Perfect.
Everybody else already said it in other words, but like when you give a subject, like
break it down,
implementation.
Okay.
Because I'm sitting here trying to write down notes of, okay, I can use this like that, or use this like this. So if we could do more of that.
Implementation. So as Steve said, let us soak in tomorrow. We're going to do a lot of implementation tomorrow. And then when I see that we're having issues, something hasn't soaked in, we'll take a moment, we'll do a quick training on it, and then we'll implement again, just as you're suggesting. Mike?
Yeah, something different on something I want to cover. We have callers, and like one of our main objections is, what's your offer? Like, how much are you going to pay me? Yeah. So we kind of changed our script to give them our cold callers give an offer range. So I was just kind of wondering what's your take on that. Do you think it hurts us more than it helps? Because
a range is good as long as it's wide enough. And you don't want to overshoot it and have them expecting more than what you can give, because then you use the opposite of a price anchor. You can also give them complete autonomy and give them the choice by saying, do you want my quick offer or do you want my best offer? I could give it to you right now, but I've got to just err on the side of caution and give you a very low offer. Or I could give you my best offer, but it's going to require me asking you a few questions and things like that. Your way, your choice, quick offer or best offer.
Do you think that's a good thing for like cold callers to do, or should that be like
for anyone to do?
Acquisitions or?
No one ever picks a quick offer.
Okay.
It's just a transition.
Who else do we have? We got a few minutes left. Anson?
I'd like to see maybe just a few suggestions of those of us coming from a higher end market where our median home price is like $460,000. I couldn't buy a house for $8,000 if I wanted to and sold my soul to the devil.
We use the same stuff in Southern California for $1 million houses all the time. So we'll get into some of those.
Yeah, so I was going to say if there's anything that's more helpful towards a higher end market where we have very highly informed sellers and really low inventory, really low vacancy. So, I mean, they could list it tomorrow and get higher than I can pay them. That's what we run into a lot. So, Denver.
Yeah. I just spent last month out in La Jolla and Anaheim, same situation.
Sure.
$1 million houses, we're buying them for $400,000. They could turn around as is and sell them for 7 or 8.
Sure.
So we'll cover that stuff.
Cool.
As we're going through stuff, if you're feeling like, hey, this doesn't really apply to my market, stop and just say, hey, John, what about for me? Because if you're feeling that way, other people are feeling that way, so just be vocal about that, and we'll make sure to jump in. Guys, anything else before we wrap up? 1 in the back, 2 in the back. Dixie?
I won't be here tomorrow, so I'm really sad about that. But one thing for tomorrow to consider possibly is something that Brandon has struggled with, not to call him out in front of everybody, is he's working really hard on this empathy thing. He's so logical and engineered brain that there's this sympathy or empathy button is just like not there.
Yeah.
And he always says, "You're mom, so you have it." When he works on that empathy thing and he gets empathetic, he literally can't come out of that gutter or that negative empathetic mindset. He's like, I got to ask John how to come back out of that.
Great question.
So maybe that for tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm the same way. My wife accuses me of having 0 feelings whatsoever. My kids too. Like, no, you don't have feelings, Dad. It's just Dad. Not a good thing. I don't know why we're laughing about it. But I get it, but I could pull off empathy and come out, so we'll work on that tomorrow. I think we had one more in the back.
Hey, John, I was just curious. One of the things I'm trying to implement in our business is more purchasing on terms, sub-twos and stuff. Does any of your training differ for the types of offers you're making or the way you're pitching it to the prospects?
No, but I still usually start out with a lower cash offer and then become the hero by offering something special. But basically the same type of pitch. If we cover anything tomorrow and you're a little confused about how to do it with sub-twos or any of those, just let me know and we'll cover it. We'll go through different scenarios to make sure. Guys, I think that's it for today.